Swimmer begins 6-month Pacific Ocean Challenge. A Frenchman this week set out on an epic journey to raise awareness of pollution caused by plastic trash. According to CNN, Benoit Lecomte began swimming from Choshi, Japan on Tuesday. His goal is to swim 5,500 miles. Yes, swim to San Francisco, USA in 6 months. That means Lecomte will have to average 30 miles daily. CNN reports if he accomplishes the feat, he will be the first person in history to do so. Lecomte will swim 8 hours per day before resting on a boat named the Discoverer. After that, he'll begin swimming again from where he left off. Lecomte previously swam 4,000 miles across the Atlantic, during which time a shark tailed him for 5 days. But this time, he's wearing a shark repellent bracelet to ward off the ocean predators. Joining him are scientists from the likes of NASA and other organizations. They'll be collecting samples and doing a variety of studies on the journey. To follow Lecomte's progress, you can visit www.thelongestswim.com. Here's more on the oceans. Giant plastic collector almost good for Pacific garbage patch. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch has an estimated 1.8 trillion pieces of plastics brought there by ocean currents and is roughly 3 times the size of France. The Ocean Cleanup is building a giant 2,000-foot-long plastic scooping system in Alameda, California that will serve as a barrier to trap plastics floating in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's made from HDPE plastic and is flexible enough to bend with the waves, but rigid enough to form a U-shaped barrier to trap floating plastics pollution. A nylon screen underneath catches plastic without posing a threat to marine life. Large floating anchors hundreds of feet below the surface help steady the device so it moves slower in the current than the plastic, making it possible to pick up the garbage in front of the device. Boats will then come every 6 to 8 weeks to collect the plastics and take them back to land to be recycled. Ocean Cleanup spokesperson Juice Dubois said that when the final systems are sent out to the Pacific Ocean, there will be 60 floating scoops in total.
Great Pacific Garbage Patch is out of control. Here's some uplifting news. Results of a 3-year study, beginning in 2015, suggest the Great Pacific Garbage Patch could be 16 times larger than previous estimates. With 30 vessels and a C-130 Hercules aircraft, researchers cataloged a sample of over 1 million pieces of plastic, mostly microplastics, less than 0.5 centimeters in diameter. Scientists say there are more than 79,000 tons of plastic, equal to 500 jumbo jets, in a 1.6 million square kilometer area, around 3 times the size of France, of the North Pacific Ocean. Researchers found plastic bottles, containers, packaging straps, lids, ropes, and fishing nets among the other refuse that have been collecting for decades. As the plastics break down into smaller pieces, they threaten marine life that can eat and die from them.
Whale dead after chowing down on 80 plastic bags. News of a whale's death coming out of Thailand this week shows us the sad consequences of plastic waste. According to AFP, a male pilot whale was found struggling to stay alive in a canal in southern Thailand near the Malaysian border. A team of veterinary staff tried to help the wounded creature, but its condition got the best of him last Friday afternoon. An autopsy of the mammal revealed a gut-wrenching discovery. The AFP reports that officials found 80 plastic bags inside the whale's belly, weighing a combined 8 kilograms. Those chunks of plastic were likely consumed by the whale, which probably thought they were squid or other fish. A marine biologist told the AFP it's a huge problem, explaining that 300 marine animals die in Thailand each year after eating plastic. That number not only applies to pilot whales, but also sea turtles and dolphins. According to nonprofit organization Sea Turtle Conservancy, over 100 marine animals are killed annually due to plastic debris in the ocean. The Conservancy says that there's 100 million tons of plastic in the world's oceans. Sadly, these numbers are probably only going to get higher. It might soon be a permanent game over for coral reefs. Warming waters are hurting the world's coral reefs almost 5 times more than they did 30 years ago. Scientists looked at bleaching data in 100 coral reefs. They found that the frequency of bleaching from warmer waters increased 5-fold from once every few decades to once every 6 years. Bleaching occurs when the reef reacts to stressful changes in temperature, light, nutrients, and other conditions. This makes the reef eject the symbiotic algae in their tissue and turn pale white. Corals can survive and even recover, But continued bleaching eventually leads to death. According to the National Ocean Service, coral reefs are considered sessile animals, meaning they're fixed to one place. The World Wildlife Fund says they provide almost $30 billion in goods and services every year. They're also important for tourism, coast protection against heavy storms, typhoons, and even tsunamis.
Another catastrophe caused by climate change. Japan's coral reefs are endangered. According to a government study, rising sea temperatures have impacted the ability of Japan's biggest coral reef to recover from bleaching, resulting in only 1% of the reef being in good health. Due to rising sea temperature, the reef has suffered bleaching events in 1998, 2001, 2007, and 2016, leading to a decrease in the overall coral volume by nearly 80% in the Tsukise Lagoon. A Japanese ministry official said that the loss of rich animal life under the sea would have a grave impact on the ecosystem in the region. The lagoon is approximately 67.89 square kilometers, with only around 1.4% of its corals healthy. According to scientists, it takes at least 10 to 20 years for coral to recover from a bleaching event. Coral reefs are home to 25% of sea life, even though they only make up 1% of marine environment. The only way for the coral to recover is if sea temperatures drop and algae are able to recolonize them again. Antarctica is melting fast. A NASA study that used cutting-edge technique to look through satellite data has provided the sharpest focus yet on how fast the Antarctic ice sheets are melting. Researchers found that in 2015, Antarctica lost roughly 1,929 gigatons of ice, 89% of which was from the western part of the continent. The study confirms that the West Antarctic ice sheets are melting more rapidly than those in the east, with glacier flows increasing in response to warming oceans. The area has also experienced major iceberg calving incidents in recent years, which renders the larger region of ice left behind more prone to melting. If the entire western Antarctic ice sheet were to melt, previous studies estimate it could cause a 3-meter rise in global sea levels. Scientists say loss of the ice sheet may be inevitable, unless the world can manage to decarbonize in the near future and keep emissions low.